archaeologist Indiana Jones races against time to retrieve a legendary artifact that can change the course of history.
That won't do it. I'll give you my plot.
My first film to ever witness in a movie theater is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You can say I am a huge fan of this franchise and Harrison Ford. They should have ended this IP perfectly in 1989, but they made another film in 2008, which was not a critical success. Now 15 years after Crystal Skull, they are trying to get Indy back on track. Will it work? Let's start the review.
The MacGuffin this time is the Dial of Archimedes, a time-traveling device. While not all the Indy MacGuffins are great, I really hoped for a version of the Ark of the Covenant, or the Holy Grail. The Dial felt very The film starts with an interesting time, 1944.
The Germans?
That means Indy in his prime. The aging technology is getting better, but not what it should be. The faces look very good and genuine, but acting with the face is still quite uncanny valley. Now I completely understand the purpose of showing Indiana Jones in his prime, for the fans. But the CGI is not at that point yet where it can act like an 80s Ford. Harrison Ford with a car. Look at the facial expression what Indy is making during the trilogy films.
We are going to die!
Look at it now. There's no soul, no pizzazz in the eyes. There's no acting in the face. The majority of the film takes place in 1969.
69.
Where we will meet an almost retired Dr. Henry Jones. While it is quite cool to experience Indiana Jones in this era, like 1969, think of the moon landing, there are no memorable scenes. No falling and rolling giant-ass boulder chasing Indy. No minecart sequence. No real footage of fighting on and against a freaking tank. In 1944 we begin with an action on the train sequence. Where have we seen that before? Yes, at the very start of The Last Crusade. When we go back later in 1969, there's even a scene in a narrow hallway with creepy crawling creatures. Where have we seen that before? Freaking Temple of Doom! Even the fourth film, what was loathed by most people, and me, had scenes that I can remember. Fire ants, aliens, a poor CGI jungle race sequence. Well, this film has not got such scenes. Well, maybe I will remember Indy galloping on a horse in 1969's New York City, because that's a sight you don't see often. Still, wasn't this used before in Indy? Nope. There's plenty of horse riding during Indy films, but not through a city. But why did it feel so familiar? That's because the idea is not new. Think of True Lies with Arnold, where there is a horse race scene through a busy city. But there it was much more suspenseful.
Okay, let's make it quick, because my horse is getting tired. Your horse?
Side characters. I really like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but her part did not go well with me. She was quite annoying as the character of Helena Shaw in this goddaughter. She really needed effort and better writing. Mads Mikkelsen as the villain was okay. I think he's an incredible actor and gets most of the parts that's given to him. Although a better script would mean a better Mads Mikkelsen as a villain. A villain that can reach the potential of Casino Royale's Le Chiffre, or even as Caecilius as Doctor Strange's adversary.
How long have you been at Kamatage, Mr.
Doctor.
Mr. Doctor?
It's strange.
Maybe.
There's a kid character included, which felt very forced. It looked like they tried to recapture the magic with another type of short round. Nope, didn't work. Why couldn't they cast Ki Hei Kwan? Short round. An older one. The dude has won an Oscar.
Okie dokie, Dr. Jones, hold on to your potatoes!
They let John Rhys-Davies act a bit in this film as Sala, but I needed much more screen time with him together with Indy.
Give him hell, Indiana Jones!
Toby Jones, Arnim Zola from the MCU, is playing Helena's dad, and Antonio Banderas has a quite small, forgettable role as Indy's friend and ally. I just named quite big names as side characters. It's such a shame that none of these really work. Even with the villain's henchmen, they couldn't do it right. The right-hand man of Mickelson's character felt very bland and had no oomph. Even the muscle man, you know, the big guy that always has to face Indy during one of the films, had almost no interaction with Indiana Jones. I know he is old, but come on man, give me something. I mean, even Indy in his better days has no superpowers. He is no James Bond or Batman, although he is immortal by drinking from the cup of Christ and survived a nuclear blast in a freaking fridge. He has no superpowers, but he always felt human. You know, he cannot win from those big oafs on strength, so he has to use his wit. And dealing the occasional Spielberg punches, of course. For me, the film relied a lot on CGI. And that's a shame. There are some nice shots and cinematography during these films with kind of cool locations. Also, the places where they visited did not make a big impression on me, as they were in Tangiers and Greece. It did not have the impact of places like Tanis in Egypt, Nepal, or Venice. That's too bad, because Morocco and Greece has historic locations to get something cool on camera. I mean, you could create the same vibe as in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they visited the Valley of the Crescent Moon. You know what? I'm getting pretty negative. Let's conclude this.
Go to the cinema dry, or does this movie require a high?
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny attempts to recapture the magic of the iconic franchise, but falls short in several key aspects. The film lacks memorable, thrilling set pieces that I associate with Indiana Jones and instead offers familiar elements that fail to create the same excitement. Why is this movie made? To give Harrison Ford a well-deserved send-off? Or because of money? Side characters feel bland, with Phoebe Waller-Bridge's portrayal and the character of Helena Shaw feeling underdeveloped. Even the talented Mads Mikkelsen as the villain is limited by the script. The film disappoints in its portrayal of the villain's henchman and fails to capture Indy's trademark wit and resourcefulness. The heavy reliance on CGI and less impactful locations further contribute to a sense of disappointment, leaving me longing for the nostalgia and excitement of the earlier Indiana Jones adventures. So I advised you to watch this film high. Check out this film Intoxicated to get through the long runtime of 2.5 hours and blandness of the script. Maybe only then you will get some enjoyment with the grumpy old Indy and the time travel MacGuffin.
My score, a 4 out of 10. Jeez man, this really bums me out. I need a film or series that gives me some hope and happiness.
What the fuck are you doing? Listen.
He's every fucking where, Roy Kent! Roy Kent! He's every fucking where, Roy Kent!
Well, we apologise for the fruity language.